Mary Jameson woke up before the sun even decided to stretch. The sky over Willow Creek was still half asleep, soft blue with streaks of peach brushing the horizon. Her tiny wooden cabin, leaning to one side like it had opinions, stood behind her as she set down her old suitcase. Hydrangeas she'd planted years ago rustled lightly in the morning breeze, like they were whispering a goodbye she wasn't ready to hear. The town was small, dusty, and honest. Folks here lived simple, but lived real. As Mary walked toward the bus stop, her neighbors came out one by one, just like they always did when someone left town. Mrs. Betty, round, loud, and a hugger by nature, grabbed Mary tight enough to squeeze the bones out of her. "Lord bless you, Mary," she said, slipping a warm corn muffin into her hand. "Don't you forget us poor folks when you're up there with those fancy city people." Mary gave a smile that had a crack running right through the middle. "Betty, I am the poor folks." Betty laughed, slapped Mary's arm gently, and wiped a tear before it dared fall. When the rickety Greyhound bus screeched into the stop, Mary felt her chest tighten. Part of her wanted to sprint back home, kick off her shoes, and pretend she'd never left. But another part, an older, quieter part, told her she had to see her son, no matter what. She climbed aboard. The ride was long. Cornfields and open skies rolled by like an old movie reel. Mary held her purse on her lap the entire way, fingers brushing the embroidered handkerchief tucked inside. She'd stitched that thing back when her eyesight was sharper and life felt lighter. But as the hours passed, the world outside the bus window shifted. Light open farmland got swallowed by concrete jungles, smokestacks, and more billboards than stars. Cars zoomed by so fast, she wondered if people even had time to think here. By the time the bus pulled into Columbus, Mary felt like she'd stepped into a different planet, loud, chaotic, shiny, impatient. She looked around for James. He wasn't there. Instead, a tall young man in a stiff, dark uniform stood by the curb holding a sign that read, "Mrs. Mary J. Jameson." He didn't smile, not even a polite one. "Ma'am," he said flatly, "I'm Michael, Mr. Jameson's driver." He picked up her cardboard suitcase like it was contagious and led her through crowds that moved like stampedes. The car waiting for them was a glossy black machine that looked expensive enough to pay off every mortgage in Willow Creek. Mary caught her reflection on the door, small, nervous, out of place. When they drove out of the city, the neighborhoods changed fast. Broken down houses turned into polished streets. Worn out yards became manicured lawns behind tall iron gates. By the time they reached the estate, the fortress, Mary felt her breath catch. The mansion was huge, modern, white, and sharp-edged like it had been carved from ice. Flowers she'd never seen before grew in perfect rows. Even the birds here seemed richer. And then the front doors opened. Victoria stepped out. Tall, thin, dressed in something that screamed money. Her smile was polite, but her eyes were cold as a January morning. "Mary," she said, giving her a long, judgmental look. "Welcome." No hug, no warmth, not even a hand on the arm. "James is in a video meeting, Tokyo or Singapore, something big. He insisted that I help get you settled." Settled. Mary didn't like that word, not one bit, but she followed Victoria inside anyway, her footsteps echoing on the marble. And right there, as the door shut behind her, the air shifted. The house didn't feel like a home. It felt like a trap. Mary doesn't know it yet, but the moment that front door clicked shut behind her, someone else in that mansion already decided what her new place would be, and it's nowhere near the family she came for. The inside of the mansion looked less like a home and more like the kind of place rich people showed off in magazines. Shiny floors you could slip and die on, chairs so fancy they looked allergic to real people. Everywhere Mary looked, she felt her old sneakers apologizing for existing. Victoria walked ahead of her like she owned the air itself, gliding more than walking. Her voice echoed through the marble hallway, flat and cold. "This way, Mary. Please don't touch anything. Some of the pieces here are delicate." Delicate? The chandelier alone looked big enough to light the whole county fair. Mary kept her hands tucked close to her chest, afraid to brush against something that probably cost more than her entire house back in Willow Creek. The whole place felt too clean, too sterile, like a museum where love wasn't invited. "Is James, expecting me?" Mary asked, small hope shining in her voice. Victoria didn't even look back. "He's busy, very busy. That's why he couldn't pick you up. Meetings, deals, major clients." Mary nodded, even though Victoria wasn't watching. Her heart sank quietly. She'd imagined James greeting her at the station, hugging her tight like he used to. Instead, he sent a chauffeur and a cold welcome. They moved through room after room, each one bigger, shinier, and emptier than the last. "This is the reception lounge," Victoria said, pointing at a gigantic white sofa. "Imported fabric. Please don't sit on it. It stains easily." Mary wasn't planning to sit. She felt like the furniture might scream if she touched it. Next came the dining room, a long table that looked like it hosted royal weddings every Tuesday. That chandelier above the table, handmade crystals from Italy. One piece breaks and the whole fixture becomes useless. Mary swallowed hard. In her town, a broken bulb was fixed with a twist and a prayer. Here, everything came with rules, warnings, and price tags that didn't make sense. They finally reached the kitchen, a massive stainless steel jungle with equipment that looked like NASA might have designed it. "This is where the chef prepares our meals. You won't be cooking or touching anything in here. It's complicated." Mary blinked. "I've been cooking since I was 10. "Yes," Victoria said, already turning away. "And that's adorable, but we have systems." Adorable, like she was a child. A sudden chime came from Victoria's phone. She picked it up with a smile that had zero joy in it. "James? Hi, honey." She put the call on speaker. Mary's heart fluttered. James asked, "Mom arrived fine?" "Yes, darling," Victoria said sweetly. "She's right here." Mary leaned toward the phone. "Hello, son." "Hey, Mom," James said. "Glad you made it. Listen, just follow Victoria's instructions, okay? She'll take good care of you." Before Mary could respond, click, he hung up. Victoria locked eyes with Mary, smile tightening like a noose. "See? He trusts me." Mary's chest tightened. Everything in this place smelled of cold metal, expensive perfume, and invisible chains. They headed upstairs. The hallway stretched long and lonely, lined with identical white doors. Victoria stopped at the farthest one, the very last door near the end of the wing. "This will be your room. It's far from our master suite, so we don't disturb each other." Meaning, stay away. Mary stepped inside. The room was nice, too nice. Plush bedding, big windows with designer bars, a bathroom that looked like a spa. But something felt off. The lock on the door wasn't a normal lock. It was electronic. And on the inside, there was no latch. Victoria paused in the doorway. Patricia will explain the house rules later. For now, rest. And Mary. She lowered her voice, eyes narrowing. Don't wander around at night. Then she closed the door. A soft electronic click pulsed through the room. Mary froze. That wasn't the sound of privacy. That was the sound of a cage closing. Mary sat on the edge of the giant bed, hands folded in her lap like a schoolgirl waiting to be scolded. The room looked like one of those hotel suites rich influencers brag about online. Big, shiny, soulless. Everything felt too smooth, too perfect, too cold. Nothing had fingerprints. Nothing had history. Nothing had her in it. Back home in Willow Creek, she could tell time by the rooster's first yell, by the creaking of the old port swing, by Mrs. Dalma hollering at her grandkids every afternoon. Here, silence. Thick, heavy silence. A silence that felt like someone had pressed mute on the whole world. She lay down, but the mattress felt wrong. Too soft, too deep, like it wanted to swallow her. She missed her lumpy old bed that groaned whenever she rolled over. Eventually, she drifted into a thin, uneasy sleep. But it didn't last. A strange sound woke her, a low whirring like a machine breathing. The curtains suddenly slid open on their own, revealing the pale blue edges of dawn. Mary sat up, startled. "Lord have mercy," she whispered. "Even the windows got attitudes." The garden outside looked unreal. Grass cut to perfection, flowers arranged like someone painted them. But the beauty only made her chest ache. It reminded her of everything she'd lost by leaving home. Her throat tightened. She needed coffee, real coffee, not whatever fancy stuff these people drank. She slipped out of bed, cracked her door open, and peeked into the hallway. Empty. Good. Mary tiptoed down the long corridor, trying to remember the route Victoria had dragged her through. Every hallway looked the same. White, cold, quiet. She felt like she was walking through a very expensive maze. Down the stairs, she finally heard faint voices. Staff in the kitchen. When she entered, the workers froze like she'd walked into a crime scene. They stared at her like she wasn't supposed to exist outside her room. A stern woman with sharp cheekbones marched toward her, the head of staff, Patricia. "Ma'am," she said, voice like a stone wall, "you're not allowed down here. Meals are delivered to your room." "I just want a little coffee, real coffee. Can I make it myself?" Patricia's face didn't budge. "Absolutely not. Protocol." That word again, protocol. Sound like a fancy way of saying we don't want you touching anything. Mary felt heat rise in her cheeks. Back home, nobody talked to elders like this. But before she could respond, Patricia turned her back and dismissed her with a flick of her hand. Humiliated, Mary returned to her room, feet heavy. She sank on the bed and opened her suitcase. Inside, under folded clothes, lay her treasure, her embroidered handkerchief, the lavender flowers she'd stitched decades ago. It was her last piece of home. She laid it gently on her lap, fingers tracing the vines. A knock interrupted her. Soft, cautious. A young worker slipped inside, the girl from the kitchen with big brown eyes. "Ma'am, I brought you this," she whispered, setting down a small tray. On it sat a clay mug, simple, warm, familiar. The smell hit Mary before she even lifted it. Coffee, strong, sweet, cinnamon, just like home. Mary's eyes filled with tears. "Oh, bless your heart," she whispered. The girl smiled shyly. "My name's Grace. My grandma makes it the same way. I thought maybe you'd miss it." Mary took a sip, and the warmth spread through her chest like the first sunrise of summer. For the first time since arriving at the mansion, she didn't feel completely invisible. Grace glanced at the door, nervous. "Please don't tell anyone I did this. If Patricia finds out, she'll skin me alive." Mary nodded. "Your secret's safe with me." Grace slipped out quietly, leaving behind the first real kindness Mary had felt in days, and a tiny spark of hope. But in a house built on secrets, even kindness has consequences, and the wrong person is about to notice Grace's small act of rebellion. Mary finished the last sip of the cinnamon coffee like it was medicine for the soul. Warmth spread through her chest, chasing away the cold pressure this house kept planting on her shoulders. She placed the mug on the nightstand and whispered a tiny prayer for Grace, the only person in this mansion who treated her like an actual human being. But peace didn't last long here. Around mid-morning, the door swung open without a knock. Patricia stepped in, stiff as a broomstick, eyes sharp enough to slice steel. "Good morning," she said, though her face suggested the opposite. "You're expected downstairs in the family lounge." Expected, like she was an employee who'd already messed up her shift. Mary smoothed her old floral dress and followed. As they reached the staircase, she noticed something she hadn't before. Little blinking black dots tucked neatly in corners. Cameras everywhere. She paused, stomach twisting. Patricia turned, annoyed. "Is there a problem?" "No," Mary whispered, but inside a voice screamed, "Why does a house need this many cameras?" Downstairs, the family lounge looked like the kind of room rich people pretended to relax in. Everything was white, too white, the type of white that made you scared to exhale. Victoria waited there, legs crossed, holding a tablet like it was a royal scepter. "Good morning, Mary," she said, with a smile that had no heartbeat. "Please sit." Mary perched on the edge of the chair, hands folded. Victoria swiped her tablet. "We need to go over some basic house expectations." Mary blinked. "Expectations?" "Yes." Victoria cleared her throat. "First, meals. You will take breakfast, lunch, and dinner in your room. No wandering through staff areas." Mary felt the sting instantly. "I wasn't wandering. I just wanted a cup of—" Victoria raised her hand. "Second, please avoid entering private wings. James and I keep important documents and valuables there." "I wasn't planning to." "And third, nighttime movement is discouraged. It disturbs the household." Mary frowned. Discouraged? What does that even mean? Victoria's eyes hardened. "It means stay in your room." Patricia stood nearby like backup muscle. Mary swallowed the lump in her throat. This wasn't hospitality. This was control. Victoria's tone softened suddenly, fake soft, like plastic flowers. "I'm sure this adjustment is difficult, but we run our home a certain way. We need order, structure, harmony." Mary forced a nod. Of course. Before Mary could ask about James, Victoria stood. "He's in meetings all day, very demanding schedule. If he has time later, he'll stop by." Mary tried not to show disappointment, but Victoria caught it. "I know you're eager to see him, but he's busy making our life work." Our life. Mary felt that sting too. Every word Victoria spoke seemed designed to push Mary farther out of James's orbit. They dismissed her soon after. Mary walked back to her room slowly, each step weighted with frustration. The moment she entered, she leaned against the door and exhaled shakily. Was she a guest or an inconvenience being managed? She sat on the bed, trying to distract herself by unpacking her suitcase, but as she placed her clothes in drawers, she noticed something odd. The nightstand, where she had set the clay mug, empty. The mug was gone. Mary froze. She hadn't opened the door. She hadn't left the room. She hadn't invited anyone in. Her heart thudded. Someone had entered her room while she was downstairs. And they didn't just take the mug. The embroidered handkerchief she had laid on the bed was missing too. Her last piece of home. Her breath hitched. No, no, no! She checked every corner, every drawer, every blanket fold. Gone. Not misplaced. Taken. On purpose. A soft electronic whir buzzed behind her. She turned. The tiny camera in the corner, she hadn't noticed it before, blinked red once. Recording. Watching. Monitoring. Her blood ran cold. Mary isn't imagining it anymore. Someone in that house is tracking her every move and stealing the things that matter most. And the next thing they take won't fit in a drawer. Mary stepped back from the blinking camera like it was a rattlesnake. Her heart hammered in her chest, sending sharp, cold pulses down her arms. She'd lived 70 years on this earth, and not once had she felt this watched, this cornered, this hunted. She rubbed her trembling hands together. "This ain't normal," she whispered. "This ain't how families treat each other." Mary moved toward the camera, squinting up at it. The little red light blinked once more, almost like it was winking, taunting her. She placed her palm on the wall beneath it. The drywall was warm, humming faintly, like the house itself was alive. Someone was watching her in real time. Probably Victoria, maybe Patricia, maybe both. Mary swallowed hard. Lord, give me strength. A sudden knock made her jump, not the polite kind. A sharp, impatient double tap. Patricia opened the door before Mary could respond. "Mrs. Jameson," she announced stiffly, "Victoria wants you in the reading hall." Did Victoria ever not want something? Mary followed reluctantly. As she walked, she kept noticing things she hadn't before. The way the vents hummed louder when she passed, the faint clicking inside the walls, the shadows that felt too still. This house wasn't just big, it felt wired, rigged, controlled. When they reached the reading hall, Victoria sat near the window, sipping tea like she owned the sunbeam it sat in. She looked up, smiled too sweet, too fake. "Mary, please come sit." Mary sat on the edge of the nearest chair, hands stiff in her lap. Victoria's smile sharpened. "Your belongings were inspected this morning." "Excuse me?" "It's standard," Victoria said lightly, swirling her tea. "We can't allow unknown items in a secure home for safety reasons." Mary's stomach twisted. "My handkerchief! You took it?" Victoria tilted her head. "If something was removed, it's because it didn't fit safety protocols." Mary felt heat rise behind her eyes. "That handkerchief was mine. I made it. It ain't dangerous unless you're allergic to memories." Victoria placed her cup down quietly. "Mary, please understand. This isn't Willow Creek. We live differently here." Mary leaned forward, voice trembling. "Different doesn't mean cruel." For a microsecond, Victoria's calm slipped. Her eyes hardened, mouth tightening. Then she smiled again. "Let's not make this emotional. You're here to rest, not challenge the household." Mary exhaled sharply. "I just want to see my son." Victoria waved her hand dismissively. "James is handling major clients. He'll come when he's free." But Mary saw through it now. Victoria wasn't managing the household. She was managing Mary, keeping her away from James, keeping her isolated, keeping her quiet. The reading hall door opened suddenly. Grace peeked inside, face pale, eyes wide. "Ma'am, sorry, Victoria snapped, voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Grace, out." Grace flinched. "Yes, ma'am." She disappeared instantly. Something inside Mary snapped. She was just helping. Victoria crossed her legs. "Grace is a servant. She doesn't help. She follows orders. And if she ever steps out of line again, she's gone. Do you understand?" Mary felt air leave her lungs. Victoria wasn't bluffing. This woman had power, and she enjoyed using it. Mary stood up. "I need some air." Victoria didn't look up. "Stay in the west garden only. Cameras don't cover that side." Cameras don't cover. Mary froze. That meant Victoria knew exactly where all the cameras were, which meant she was watching them the whole time. Mary walked out, pulse thundering, mind spinning. If the West Garden was the only place the cameras didn't reach, that meant it was the only place she could talk freely, or hide something, or learn something. She stepped into the garden, the only spot not glowing with cold digital eyes. Flowers rustled. Wind whispered. For the first time since she'd arrived, the air didn't feel controlled. Then she saw it. Fresh footprints in the soil. Small, hurried, leading toward the shed at the corner of the property. Grace's footprints. Or someone else's. Mary followed them, every step taking her deeper into the one place Victoria couldn't see, and deeper into the truth the mansion was trying so hard to hide. Inside that shed lies something or someone the cameras were never meant to catch. And Mary is about to open the one door Victoria can't control. The West Garden felt different from the rest of the estate. Less perfect, less polished. The flowers here weren't arranged with ruler-straight precision. Leaves were scattered on the ground, and the hedge line looked like it didn't get the memo about being flawless. It was the first place on the property that felt a little bit human. And maybe that's why Mary trusted her feet to follow those footprints. They were small, too small to be Patricia's heady stomping steps, too light to be one of the male staff, barely pressed into the soil, almost like whoever left them was trying not to be noticed. Mary's breath fogged lightly in the cool air. She glanced back at the mansion, its windows staring at her like cold, unblinking eyes. Out here, she finally felt unseen but also exposed. Unmonitored didn't mean safe. She reached the small wooden shed tucked at the far corner of the property. Old, weathered, almost forgotten. Compared to the rest of the mansion's spotless perfection, this thing looked like it belonged in a different world. The door was cracked open, just a sliver, enough to say someone's inside. Mary hesitated. Lord, keep my legs from running the wrong way. She pushed the door gently. It creaked, a long, tired groan. Sunlight slipped through the dusty window, landing on the cluttered workbench, old pots and gardening tools tossed like someone stopped caring halfway through cleaning. A faint smell of earth, oil, and something else, something warm filled the air. Then Mary heard it, a soft gasp from behind the stack of crates. Mary froze. Hello? She whispered softly. I ain't here to cause trouble. No response, just a quiet shuffle of feet. Mary stepped closer. Sweetheart, it's all right. I'm not one of them. A small face slowly appeared from behind the crates. Big brown eyes, dust-smudged cheeks. A girl, maybe 10, maybe younger. Mary's heart stopped. The child looked terrified and familiar. Baby, what are you doing out here? Mary asked gently. The girl shook her head fast, backing away. I'm not supposed to talk to anyone, she whispered. If she finds out, I'll be punished. Mary knelt, keeping her voice low and warm. Who? Victoria? The girl's wide eyes darkened with fear. She nodded. Mary's pulse quickened. Honey, do you live here? She hesitated, then nodded again. Mary's stomach dropped. Does James know? No, she whispered. They said I'm a secret. Mary felt her blood go cold. A secret? A child hidden on the property? What in God's name was happening in this house? Before Mary could ask more, the girl grabbed Mary's hand suddenly, small fingers trembling. You need to go back, she whispered urgently. She watches everything, even when the cameras aren't on. Mary squeezed her hand. Why are you hiding? She took my things, she murmured, eyes glossy with fear. One day, I woke up and my books were gone, my toys, my clothes. She said we don't need memories in this house. The words punched through Mary's chest. Memories. The stolen handkerchief. The missing mug. The inspection of her suitcase. Victoria wasn't just controlling people. She was erasing them. Mary's heart pounded. Does anyone else know you're here? A faint shake of the head. Only Grace. She brings me food sometimes, but if Patricia finds out? She didn't finish. She didn't have to. Mary understood. This child wasn't a family guest. Wasn't a relative. Wasn't anything Victoria wanted seen. She was hidden. Isolated. Silenced. Just like Mary was being pushed to be. A sudden noise outside, the crunch of footsteps on gravel, made the girl jerk. Her eyes widened. Go! Someone's coming! Mary stood, heart racing. She whispered, I'll come back, I promise. The girl shook her head violently. Don't! She'll hurt you! Mary slipped out of the shed just as a shadow stretched across the doorway. She ducked behind the hedge, breathing hard. Patricia walked by, scanning the garden like she was looking for something or someone. Mary clutched her chest. They were watching more than she realized. Way more. Mary now knows the mansion holds secrets darker than anything she imagined, but Victoria is only getting more suspicious, and the next person she targets is Grace. Mary hurried back toward the mansion, keeping her steps soft on the stone path. Her heart felt like someone had their fist wrapped around it, tight, squeezing harder every second. The hidden girl's face kept flashing in her mind. Those scared eyes, those tiny trembling hands, the way she whispered like the air itself was dangerous. What kind of place hides a child? What kind of woman calls a child a secret? Mary forced herself to breathe. She had to stay calm. Whoever was watching those cameras would notice panic, and panic gets people in trouble in this house. She reached her room door right as Patricia rounded the corner at the opposite end of the hallway. Patricia's eyes narrowed instantly. "Where were you?" Mary kept her tone even. "In the garden, like Victoria said." Patricia studied her face for a long minute. "You walked further than usual." Mary's pulse jumped. "I needed air." Patricia didn't answer. She stepped closer, close enough for Mary to smell her perfume, a sharp chemical floral scent that matched her personality. "Dinner will be delivered in 40 minutes. Stay in your room." Then she turned and left. Mary exhaled shakily once she was gone. Inside the room, she shut the door and pressed her back against it. Her mind raced. That little girl alone, scared, trapped. Grace, the only kind soul here, secretly keeping her alive. And Victoria, cold, controlling, watching everything. Mary sank onto the bed. "Lord, help me. This house ain't right." Before she could process anything, a muffled yell came from downstairs. A voice. A familiar one. Grace. Mary shot up. She cracked the door open and peeked into the hallway. Voices echoed up the staircase, sharp, harsh, angry. Victoria's, and Patricia's, and Grace's, soft, scared, apologizing. Mary slipped out, moving quietly to the top of the stairs. She crouched behind the rail, her heart bursting through her ribs. Down below, near the kitchen doorway, Victoria stood with her arms crossed, eyes blazing with icy fury. Grace stood trembling in front of her, head bowed. Patricia hovered like a guard dog. Victoria's voice cut through the house like a blade. "You broke house protocol. Again." Grace shook her head desperately. "Ma'am, I was only trying to help." She didn't know how to— "Silence," Victoria snapped. Grace jumped, eyes watering. Mary held her breath, afraid to make a sound. Victoria stepped closer to the girl, tone dripping with poison. "Your little acts of kindness end today. Because as of this moment, you are suspended." Grace gasped. "Suspended? Please, my family needs—" "I don't care about your family. Pack your things, you leave tonight." Mary flew her hand to her mouth. Grace broke down, tears spilling. "Ma'am, please, if I leave, she—" Victoria's eyes narrowed. "Who?" Grace froze. Too late. Mary felt the air turn to ice. Victoria leaned in, voice deadly quiet. "What did you say?" Grace shook her head violently. No one. I meant—" Victoria grabbed her chin, forcing her face upward. "No lies in my house." Patricia's grip tightened on Grace's arm. Grace winced. Mary's blood boiled. She couldn't stay quiet anymore. She stepped out from behind the staircase. "Leave her alone." Victoria's head whipped up, surprise flashing across her face for the first time since Mary arrived. Grace looked at Mary, eyes wide with silent pleading. Victoria's expression shifted slowly, from shock to something darker. "Mary," she said sweetly, dangerously, "go back to your room." Mary shook her head. "Grace did nothing wrong. If you're going to punish someone, punish me." Victoria smiled. A thin, cruel smile. "Oh, trust me, I intend to." Mary felt her stomach drop. Patricia turned toward the staircase and began walking up, step by step by step. Eyes locked on Mary like she was prey. Patricia is coming, and Victoria just declared war. Mary is about to learn that in this mansion, punishment isn't just discipline. It's strategy.
Patricia climbed the staircase like a soldier on a mission,
Heavy steps, squared shoulders, eyes locked on Mary with a cold, hungry focus. Mary felt her chest tighten, but she stood her ground. She lived through storms, sickness, loss. This woman wasn't going to break her. Victoria stayed downstairs, watching with a calmness that made everything worse. She didn't yell, she didn't argue, she simply watched, like she was enjoying the show. When Patricia reached the top of the stairs, she stopped inches from Mary, her breath cold enough to frost glass. "Mrs. Jameson," she said slowly, "you were asked to remain in your room." Mary straightened. "Grace didn't do anything wrong. You're punishing a girl for caring. That's not right." Patricia's jaw ticked. "This is a well-structured household. We do not tolerate chaos." "Kindness ain't chaos," Mary shot back. Patricia leaned closer. "You're new here. You don't get to redefine order." Mary's voice wavered but didn't break. "Maybe your order needs redefining." A dangerous silence fell. Then Patricia smiled, an eerie, patient smile. "You need to come with me." Mary's stomach twisted. "Where?" "To the east, Dunny," Patricia said. "Victoria wants to clarify expectations." Mary didn't move. Something in her gut screamed, "Don't go." Downstairs, Victoria called up sweetly, "Oh, Mary, don't make this harder." That tone, that fake gentleness, Mary recognized it. That was the tone people used before doing something unforgivable. She took a step back. Patricia's hand shot out and clamped around Mary's wrist. It wasn't painful yet, but the grip said everything it needed to. "You will come now," Patricia said. Mary tried to pull away. "Let go of me." Patricia tightened her grip. Victoria's voice floated up again. "Patricia, please be gentle. She is my guest." That word had never sounded more like a threat. Mary's heart thundered. She jerked her wrist again, this time stronger. "Let me go." Patricia's jaw locked. "Ma'am, I'm only doing what's necessary." For who? For Victoria? Or for whatever she's hiding? For the first time, Patricia blinked. Just once. Quick. Uneasy. Mary caught it. "You think I don't see it? The cameras, the rules, the missing things, the way Grace looks terrified every time she breathes wrong, and you following orders like you're afraid to?" Patricia's nostrils flared. "You have no idea what you're talking about." "Then enlighten me," Mary said. But Patricia didn't. Instead, she yanked Mary's arm. Mary stumbled, grabbing the railing to steady herself. "Stop manhandling her," Grace's voice cried from downstairs. Grace had broken free from Patricia's earlier grip and stood trembling near the bottom of the stairs, tears streaking her cheeks. Victoria turned slowly, like a snake noticing prey. "Grace, I told you to pack." Grace swallowed hard, eyes flicking to Mary. "She didn't do anything wrong. Don't hurt her, please." "Hurt her," Victoria repeated softly. "Sweetheart, you misunderstand. We don't hurt unless we're forced to." Mary felt cold crawl down her spine. That settled it. She yanked her arm free with every ounce of strength she had. Patricia stumbled backward, shocked. Mary backed away, breathing hard. "I ain't going nowhere with you." Victoria's calm cracked for the first time. "Mary, get down here, now." Mary shook her head. "No." Victoria exhaled sharply, then smiled again, that tight, icy smile. "Patricia," she said, "lock her in." Mary froze. "Lock me in?" But she didn't get an answer. Patricia lunged. Mary bolted down the hallway. Her feet slapped the marble, heart exploding in her chest. She didn't know where she was running, just away from the claws closing in, away from the lies she could finally see clearly. Behind her, Victoria shouted something she couldn't make out. Doors slammed, footsteps thundered. Mary raced toward the west wing, the only part of the house she trusted even a little. She reached her room, spun inside, and slammed the door. Then she heard it. Beep, click. The electronic lock snapped. This time from the outside, trapping her in. Mary backed away from the door, chest rising and falling fast. No, no, no. She wasn't a guest anymore. She was a prisoner. And while Mary fights the lock in panic, someone else in that house is already watching her meltdown and deciding she's the next one who needs to disappear. Mary stared at the locked door, breath shaking, hands trembling against the cold metal. The small screen above the handle blinked orange. Access denied, like it was mocking her. She tugged, pushed, pounded, but the door didn't budge. "Let me out!" Her voice cracked. "You hear me? Let me out!" Silence. Thick, suffocating, intentional. Mary stepped back, trying to steady her breathing. Panic wouldn't save her. She needed her mind sharp, sharper than theirs. She walked to the corner of the room, sank onto the bed, and pressed her face into her trembling hands. This house wasn't just strict. It wasn't just controlling. It was a cage built with money, lies, and digital chains. A faint whir came from above. Mary's head snapped up. The camera, the one she hadn't noticed until it blinked at her last time. It moved. Just a little. Barely a twitch, but enough to show someone was watching. "Victoria," Mary whispered, meeting the dark lens. "I hope you're real proud of yourself." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, click, a speaker crackled faintly. Not loud, not clear, but enough to send goosebumps racing over Mary's skin. A distorted voice whispered, "Don't fight the house." Mary's heart stopped. That wasn't Victoria. It wasn't Patricia. It wasn't anyone she recognized. It was a child's voice. Her breath caught. "Honey, is that you? The little girl from the shed?" Silence. Then a shaky whisper. "Be quiet. She listens." "Who?" Mary asked, barely audible. "She." The girl's voice was quivering. "The woman who steals things." Mary froze. Victoria. It had to be Victoria. Before Mary could ask more, the speaker snapped off. The camera stopped moving. The room went still again. Mary stood and began searching the room. If the girl could talk through the system, there had to be another way out. A vent, a panel, something that locked electronically. She pressed on the walls, feeling for hollow spaces, loose panels. Nothing. She tried the window next. Locked tight. Reinforced glass. Expensive. Heavy. Unbreakable. "This ain't normal," Mary muttered. "This is a nightmare wrapped in designer wallpaper." Her eyes landed on her suitcase, lying open where she left it. She tossed clothes aside, looking for anything that could help her break free. But instead she found something else. Something she didn't put there. A small white envelope. Her fingers trembled as she picked it up. Her name was written on the front in neat cursive. Mary. She opened it slowly. Inside was a single sheet of paper. One sentence written in clean, elegant handwriting. "Stop looking for her." Mary's blood turned to ice. Her hand shook violently as she whispered, "She knows! She knows I found the girl!" Suddenly, a noise outside the door. Footsteps, heavy, deliberate, approaching slow. Mary stepped back, pulse hammering in her ears. The footsteps stopped directly in front of her door. Silence. Then, beep, click, beep, click. Someone was trying to override the lock. Mary's breath hitched. Was it Victoria coming to finish what she started? Patricia with more orders? Or... A faint, shaky whisper came through the vent near the ceiling. "Hide!" Mary didn't hesitate. She ran to the only place she could think of, the small closet across the room. She slipped inside and shut the door gently, praying it didn't creak. She crouched low between hanging robes, covering her mouth to quiet her breathing. The electronic lock outside gave one last loud click. The door to her room swung open. Mary clutched the floor, heart thundering, every nerve in her body screaming. Slow footsteps entered the room. Soft, but not soft enough to be Grace, not heavy enough to be Patricia, not sharp enough to be Victoria. Someone else. Someone she hadn't met yet. Mary peered through the tiny crack between the closet doors. A figure stepped into view. She gasped silently. It wasn't a woman. It wasn't Staff. It was a young man. And she recognized the face instantly. James, her son. But his eyes, cold, emotionless, empty, like he wasn't the boy she raised. He looked around slowly, scanning the room. Then he said, voice low and chilling, "Mom, we need to talk." Mary's blood ran cold. Mary is hiding inches away from her own son. But the man who just entered her room isn't the boy she remembers. And he's working with Victoria. Inside the dark closet, Mary felt her heartbeat pounding against her ribs like it was trying to escape. Through the narrow crack between the hanging robes, she watched James walk slowly around her room, her locked room, his expression blank in the worst way. Not tired, not stressed, not confused, just empty. Like someone had scraped out the part of him that used to care. "Mom," he said again, scanning the room. "I know you're in here." Mary covered her mouth, praying he couldn't hear her breath. She'd known James since the moment he took his first breath on this planet, and this wasn't him. Something in his voice, something cold, rehearsed, automatic. He checked behind the curtains, under the bed, even kneeled down to glance beneath the nightstand. Then he stood very still. "Mom," he said softly, "please don't make this worse." Mary's eyes burned. Worse? Had she done something wrong by protecting Grace? By refusing to let Victoria control every inch of her life? James turned toward the closet, slow, purposeful, like he already knew she was there. Mary's hand shook violently. "Father in heaven, help me." But then, a knock, sharp, urgent. The door to the hallway opened, and Patricia's voice rushed in. "Sir, Victoria needs you downstairs, now!" James didn't answer right away. His jaw flexed, annoyed, impatient. Then he gave a short breath. Fine. He walked toward the door. Mary held her breath. He stopped in the doorway, turned his head slightly, like he could feel her watching him, and whispered, "This house works smoothly when everyone follows the rules." Then he stepped out and closed the door behind him. The lock beeped again. Click! Locked from the outside. Mary stayed frozen another full minute before slowly, shakily pushing the closet door open. She stumbled out, knees buckling for a second. She grabbed the bed frame to steady herself. Her son, her baby, the boy she raised on love, kindness, and faith, talking like he was part of a prison staff. "What did they do to you?" she whispered to the empty room. "James, what happened to you?" She sank onto the bed, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. She didn't have the luxury of breaking down, not when a child was hiding in a shed, not when Grace was about to be thrown out, not when this house was tightening its grip on every soul inside. Another faint voice crackled over the vent. "The girl," she whispered. "They're angry. You made them angry." Mary swallowed hard. "Sweetheart, what is this place? Why are you here?" A pause. Then, "I wasn't supposed to exist." Mary's heart cracked. "What do you mean, baby?" she asked gently. But the girl didn't answer the question. Instead, she whispered, "You have to get out before they take you too." Mary stood up. "I'm not leaving you, or Grace." "Grace is in danger because of you," the girl whispered. "They're talking about her right now." Mary's felt her stomach drop. "What are they going to do?" "I don't know, but Patricia said that they need to clean things up." Mary's hands clenched. "Where are they?" "In the basement," she whispered, "near the security room." Security room. Of course, that's where the cameras were monitored, where the controls were, where the locks were managed. Mary walked slowly toward her door, knowing it was locked, but needing something to touch, something solid to keep her grounded. The girl's voice trembled. "Please don't go down there." Mary wiped her face, and something inside her hardened. I ain't sitting around waiting to be erased, and I sure ain't letting them hurt that child or that girl downstairs. She pressed her palm against the door. "You tell me how to get out." The girl hesitated, then whispered, "Behind your dresser." Mary's heart lurched. She ran to the dresser and started pushing with more strength than she knew she had. The heavy wood scraped loudly against the floor. Behind it was a small square panel in the wall, a hidden access door, barely big enough for a person to crawl through. Mary stared at it, breath shaking. The girl whispered, "Hurry, they're coming back." Mary has a way out of her locked room, but the panel doesn't lead outside. It leads directly into the mansion's hidden ventilation tunnels and straight toward the basement where Victoria plans to clean things up. Mary gripped the edges of the hidden panel, heart thundering. The air behind it smelled like dust, cold metal, and secrets that had been trapped for years. She kneeled, peeking inside. A narrow tunnel stretched into shadows, just tall enough for her to crawl through on her hands and knees. "Sweet Lord," she whispered, "I feel too old for this mess." But she wasn't about to sit in the locked room while Victoria planned God knows what downstairs. She ducked inside. The walls were metal, ribbed, humming faintly with the house's electrical pulse. Every movement sent echoes bouncing through the tunnel, and Mary had to crawl slowly to keep from making noise. Her knees ached, but fear worked like fuel. Behind her, the child's voice whispered from a tiny speaker somewhere inside the duct. "Go straight, then turn left. That way leads under the main hallway." Mary whispered back, "Thank you, baby. Stay hidden. I'll come for you soon." Silence followed, the scared kind. The tunnel got darker the farther she went. Mary felt around with shaky hands, finding the left turn. The path sloped downward. Air grew colder. She was sinking deeper into the mansion's belly. A sudden vibration rattled through the metal, footsteps above her, heavy and slow. Mary held her breath. Dust fell from the ceiling as Patricia's voice echoed faintly. "She couldn't have gone far." Victoria responded, her tone ice cold. "She didn't go anywhere. She's still in her room. The lock shows no exit." Mary smirked grimly in the darkness. Y'all aren't as smart as you think. Victoria's voice lowered. Focus on Grace. She's the priority. I want her gone before James starts asking questions. Patricia grunted in agreement. Mary felt fire rush through her veins. You touched that girl, she whispered under her breath, and I swear I'll burn this whole fancy house down. Once their voices faded, Mary crawled forward again. She reached another vent, this one covered by a thin grate. Carefully, she peered through. The basement hallway. Dim lighting, concrete floors, a heavy iron door at the end sealed with a security keypad. Another door on the side with a sign that read, Authorized personnel only, security operations. That had to be it. The room controlling the cameras, the locks, and everything else. Inside, faint blue screens flickered. Mary squinted and saw someone at the desk. Not Patricia, not Victoria, not staff. Her breath caught. James. He sat hunched, elbows on the table, staring at the monitors like a man watching his life fall apart. He looked broken, pale, tired, but also trapped, like he wasn't the one in control. Mary leaned closer to the grate. James rubbed his face with both hands. I didn't want this. I didn't sign up for this. Mary's breath shook. He wasn't the villain. He was a prisoner too. A voice snapped from the hallway. Victoria. Is she contained? James stiffened. Yes. The lock hasn't been opened. Good. You just focus on your work. Let me handle your mother. The way she said, your mother, like Mary was a burden, not a person, made anger burn hot in Mary's chest. Victoria stepped inside the room, heels clicking. James, listen. I know this is stressful, but you brought her here. You wanted her safe, and I'm keeping her safe. She touched his arm lightly. Safe or controlled? Victoria sharpened her smile. You know how she gets. Emotional, messy. She complicates things. And the girl in the shed? James whispered. Mary froze. He knew. Victoria's expression darkened. We don't talk about her, ever. Mary's heart slammed against her ribs. I'll take care of it, Victoria said. Both of them. Mary nearly gasped out loud. Both of them. Grace and the hidden girl. The grate trembled beneath her hand. She wasn't letting that happen. James stood abruptly. Victoria, stop. This isn't right. Mom doesn't deserve. Victoria cut him off sharply. You owe me, James, and you will follow through. Don't make me clean up another one of your mistakes. Another one? Mary's blood froze. What mistake? James lowered his head, defeated. Fine. Victoria walked out. James stayed seated, shoulders shaking. Mary exhaled, whispering, Baby, what did she do to you? She needed to get inside that room. She needed James. She needed the controls. She needed answers. She scanned the grate. One screw was loose. A tiny smile crept across her face. Don't worry, kids, she whispered. Grandma's coming. Mary began twisting the screw with her fingertips, but she didn't notice, behind her in the tunnel, a second pair of hands reaching quietly through the dark. Mary is seconds away from climbing into the security room, but she's no longer alone in the ventilation tunnels. Mary froze. She felt it before she heard it. Warm breath behind her, a faint shuffle in the tunnel, fingers brushing her ankle. She jerked forward with a gasp, banging her elbow against the metal. Ouch! Lord, who's back there? A tiny whisper answered. It's me, the hidden girl. Mary exhaled shakily. You scared the life out of me, sweetheart. What are you doing in here? The girl crawled closer, her small face illuminated by the faint emergency glow in the vents. She looked terrified, but determined. "You can't go in alone," she whispered. "She's dangerous." Mary nodded gently. "I know that, baby. But James is in there, and I think he's trapped, same as you." The girl's eyes welled with tears. "He used to be kind before she changed him." Mary swallowed hard. "Changed? How?" The girl opened her mouth, then stopped, shaking her head fast. "I'll tell you later, but you don't have time. She's coming back." Mary looked toward the grate, the loose screw she'd been turning now almost free. One last twist, and she could drop into the security room. She turned to the girl. "Stay behind me. Whatever happens, don't make a sound." The girl nodded, clutching the metal wall. Mary gave the screw one final turn. Clink. It fell into her hand. She pushed the grate forward. It swung silently onto the carpeted floor below. James sat with his back to her, head bowed in his hands. Mary lowered herself down as quietly as her old bones allowed. When her feet touched the floor, James flinched. He turned. Their eyes met. "Mom?" Mary raised a finger. "Shh, keep your voice low." James stood quickly, panic in his eyes. The real James, the scared James, not the cold shell she'd seen earlier. "How did you weren't supposed to... Mom, it's not safe." Mary stepped closer, voice soft but firm. "Baby, look at me." He did. And all the pain he'd been hiding came spilling out in that moment. His eyes glistened, his jaw trembled. "Oh God, Mom, I messed up. I messed up so bad." Mary cupped his cheek. "Tell me." James sucked in a shaky breath. "Victoria, she wasn't always like this. She was controlling, sure, but not cruel. Not until last year." Mary frowned. "What happened last year?" James hesitated, then whispered, "The little girl in the shed. It's mine." Mary's whole body went still. "What?" James's voice cracked. "She's my daughter, Mom, from before I married Victoria. Her name is Lily. I tried to tell Victoria, but she lost it. She said Lily would destroy our image, ruin her reputation, ruin everything she built." Mary felt sick. "So she hid her, like some dirty secret?" James nodded painfully. "I fought her. I tried. But Victoria, she's not normal, Mom. And Patricia helps her with everything." "And the house?" Mary whispered. "The cameras, the locks?" James motioned weakly toward the screens. "Victoria controls every inch. She doesn't just want a perfect house. She wants perfect lives. Ones she owns." Mary felt a boil of rage she hadn't felt in decades. "Then we're ending this tonight." James blinked. "Mom, we can't. She'll..." "No!" Mary cut in. "I ain't letting her hurt my granddaughter. I ain't letting her throw Grace out, and I certain ain't letting her lock me up in a room like a pet." The vent above them rattled softly, the girl watching, listening. Mary placed a hand over James's. "Baby, are you ready to get your child back?" James swallowed, then nodded. A quiet knock sounded on the basement hallway door. Victoria's voice drifted through, smooth as poison. "James, open up, darling. We need to finish our discussion." Mary's eyes locked onto James's. He whispered, "Mom, what do we do?" Mary straightened her back, the fire of Willow Creek rising in her chest. "We fight." She grabbed the nearest metal tool from the desk, a heavy wrench, and nodded toward the grate above. "Get Lily. I'll handle the devil at the door." James's breath shook. "Mom, go." He scrambled up into the vent where his daughter waited. Mary turned as the door handle twitched. Victoria trying the lock. Mary tightened her grip on the wrench, eyes blazing. The door clicked, slowly creaked open. Victoria stepped in, smiling like a wolf. Mary raised the wrench. "You picked the wrong grandma to mess with." Victoria walks in, Mary stands ready, and the entire mansion, every lie, every camera, every secret is about to explode into a ward nobody can walk away unscarred. Thank you for staying with us through this emotional journey. If this story hit your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe. You won't want to miss the next one. And tell us in the comments,